the biggest one that we want to start with, because we're so thrilled about this getting finalized and then announced, the NWSL Championship has a home. It's going to be taking place in Audi Field in Washington, D.C. You can catch it on October 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS in prime time. You can also follow along on Paramount Plus. International viewers can follow along with Twitch. And it's all came to fruition because the league, Ally Financial, and CBS essentially worked together to try to make sure that they got this event on a primetime slot.
Yeah, this is huge news. There have been rumblings that this match was going to be played in DC at Audi Field for a while now, but it is officially out there, and really that 8 p.m. time slot on an Eastern kickoff is fantastic. It's on CBS on prime time, which is something that CBS wants, the league wants, the players wants, the fans wants. It's just a matter of all of those pieces coming together. And there's so much behind the scenes that even I don't understand about these negotiations and how it works. But when we think back to the 2021 NWSL Championship, that was originally supposed to be played in Portland at Providence Park, and it was going to be a 9 a.m. kickoff time, which is incredibly early. And the players were the ones that started lobbying and saying, listen, we need to change this because we need a better time slot for this. So the game got moved from Portland, Oregon to Louisville, Kentucky to be played at Lynn Family Stadium. So it was the same time slot on CBS, but now the game kickoff would be noon for the players. And it was still very early, but much better than a 9 a.m. kickoff. That's like, you've got to wake up at like 4 a.m. or something to get ready for that game. So 8 p.m. kickoff now for this championship game. It's going to be on CBS. It's going to be on Paramount Plus. It'll be on Twitch internationally. CBS made it happen. Ally made it happen. The league made it happen. I know Jessica Berman was in talks, the NWSL commissioner, about how to make this all happen. This is huge for the players, for the league, for everything, and the growth of it. I know a lot of people, once this news dropped this morning, right? Today's Tuesday. It dropped this morning. There's a lot of notes about where the league was in 2013, how attendance was, where you could watch it, if you could watch it online, everything like that up until last year and now this year, which is the 10th year in the NWSL. And they're hoping to sell out Audi Field. They're hoping to do really good numbers on CBS primetime. And that's really the point of it. The fact that this is also considered a neutral location at Audi Field, because it's not determined that Washington will or will not be in the championship. And that's something else that they're also working with the league, whether they wait until they know who's going to be in the playoffs or in the championship to pick a location. But I like this neutral location. I mean, it's close to me on the East Coast. So I like this. And obviously an 8 p.m. kickoff on October 29th, like, be there or be square.
Spooky vibes. It's Halloween weekend, y'all. It's gonna be a good one. I'm excited for that. Like all these like other little things around it. You know, it's like it should be treated as such. You know, this is the biggest game of the year for this league every single year that goes by, and to sort of kind of treat it as such, I think is very, very important. I think having that prime time slot helps out immensely. I think there have been kickoffs in the past that have been early afternoon, sort of daytime kickoffs in various facilities in the past. But I like that it's still ultimately a neutral location. Sometimes teams go on ridiculous runs and make that not the case. I mean, Carolina was awarded the championship final and went ahead and was able to make their return back to the championship final. And this one finally being announced in Audi Field after some reporting, I believe via The Athletic, primarily with rumblings about whether this was going to be the facility in which the championship final was held. But now it's all official, and I'm loving like the reaction around it as well. Like everyone's like really excited about this being a primetime slot. Folks are like, you have great folks out in DC, whether it's like Rose Room Collective or other supporters groups who are like trying to give tips on how to prepare for travel for this event. And I love that. Like this is like just one of those moments where like, even if you're just sort of a neutral fan or neutral supporter of the league and its teams and its existence, this is like the type of event where maybe you want to go and try out and treat yourself in support. So exciting times ahead for the championship final. But let's maybe segue a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about trades, right? Those are still happening as well with the transfer window quickly coming to a close. This one also had some room for folks and their takes on it as well. Kansas City Current and Gotham FC participating in a mutual trade here. The Kansas City Current go ahead and trade Victoria Pickett to Gotham FC, $200,000 in allocation money and a conditional first round pick. I think there will be more clarity on that, and if it's going to be the natural first round pick or the recent pick that Kansas City Current received. So there's still some conditions there, but Victoria Pickett now a part of New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. Lisa, your reaction to this one when it dropped?
I love this trade for Gotham. I mean, it's a little bit. We talked about this yesterday. I guess I was like, wait, I've said my take on this. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I guess that was off mic. This is a very interesting trade. I think $200,000 in allocation money is a lot of money for this type of player. She's Pickett's at her second year in the league. She was a Rookie of the Year finalist in 2021 with Kansas City last year. This is a player that did well last year, and I think has grown so much as a player on the pitch this year with Kansas City. But how can you not when you look at what Matt Potter has thrown together at Kansas City and the players that have been brought in there, whether it's Lola Bonta in the midfield, Desiree Scott, like these are players Pickett has been playing alongside, and Kristen Hamilton, Cece Kaiser up top. The talent that's been around Pickett has truly helped her growth in this league and with Kansas City, that she's become a player that does a lot for Kansas City and helps contribute, but she's more of a link player than a player that's going to walk into a team and walk onto a field and just control everything and get it done. So that's what the interesting trade is for me. Going to Gotham, a team that really needs a player that is going to walk into that midfield and control the games, help turn things around, right? This is a Gotham side that recently let go or had a mutual goodbye with their former head coach, Scott Parkinson, brought in Hugh Menzies, former Jamaican women's international coach, in an attempt to turn things around towards the end of the year. They're growing on the investor side with Sue Bird, and they've got a lot of different parts there with the Manning coming in, NFL players into that investment side of things. And now making a move for a player like Victoria Pickett is just interesting because I'm not sure exactly where she's going to fall in this lineup, right? Do you put her alongside Christy Mewis in that midfield and McCall Zerboni, and then it's Pickett? So does that give Mewis a little bit more freedom to push up higher into the pitch? But that's something that Pickett likes to do as well. I think it'll be really interesting to see where Pickett falls with this Gotham squad. And perhaps maybe it's not for this season and it's for next year. And Hugh Menzies is playing the long game as well as Gotham. But in terms of the player for Victoria Pickett, I think this is great for her. She's in her second year in the league. She's a consistent starter at Kansas City. To go to a big club like Gotham FC that's looking to turn things around, I think could help her and could help Pickett take that next step to be the next level player, to become a leader on a team, to be a player that is a game changer in games and play makes in the midfield. But we'll kind of see how it unwinds. I mean, Kansas City is going to miss her, I think, for sure. What do you think about this trade? Do you think we'll see Pickett getting in the lineup before we know it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you actually hit the trade button on this one if you don't intend to
For
get this player.
200,000.
Yeah, for $200,000 allocation money, if you don't intend to get this player acclimated quickly, with your team. So I think it's a really good pickup for Gotham FC. I think they've struggled this year. That goes without saying. That's an old cold take. That's not new. But I think when you're looking at specific areas or specific lines on the pitch for this Gotham FC side, this is an area in which they were trying to target, right? So if you have Pickett who could sort of get in these roles and really be able to kind of distribute the ball around a little bit, I think that's going to benefit the attacking players on this team. And I think maybe that perhaps cuts a little bit, takes some weight off of a player like Mewis, or away some expectations, or weight off of a player like Zerboni, with this Gotham FC side. So I think it's a good pickup for them. I don't know what it'll, if it'll pan out for them in 2022. This might be something that we sort of see pan out for them more in 2023. But I think, mutually speaking, if we're looking at sort of how this will impact Gotham on the pitch, I think it's all right there, like we're talking about right now. I think when you're looking at the Kansas City Current side of things, you're looking at that big lump sum of money. You're looking at that $200,000, and you're sort of wondering, okay, well, what's going to be the move with this here for Kansas City Current? Is this going to be, for a different player? Is this going to be for contracts that maybe they're going to want to start looking at in the offseason, because this is a Kansas City Current side that has, at the moment, a lot of really good young pieces, right? They've got a really good young player in Alex Loera, that at least Bennett is still providing off of the bench for them. Maybe these are players that they're looking at and the future of this club, looking ahead a little bit, and maybe trying to say, like, hey, like, we have to start maybe looking at potential different contracts in the future for this Current side. So it was nice to see Pickett sort of, say her farewells to Kansas City. It wasn't, a franchise that she was with for a long time, but you could sort of see how very quickly in NWSL, players are able to sort of kind of adapt and get adjusted and sort of kind of call these places home, essentially. So even though she had just spent like rookie season with them, and basically nearly every game to date with this Current side, that she kind of said all her thank yous and farewells to them as well. So I would imagine that Pickett gets time immediately, or as soon as they possibly can, with this Gotham FC side. But I don't imagine that might be the last signing or trade that we hear about. We'll see. Like I said, the window's closing this week, so perhaps there will be some more news down the pipeline, and we will do our best to keep up with all that and keep everybody informed. But there's also a couple of retirements that we wanted to touch on a little bit before we took a quick break. A couple of Lionesses departing from the England women's national team. Ellen White and Jill Scott announcing their retirements. Ellen White retiring as England's all-time leading goal scorer, winning 10 club trophies with Leeds, Arsenal, Man City, and officially the women's zero with the Lionesses. Jill Scott, 9 club trophies, 3-time Cyprus Cup winner, Arnold Clark Cup, Women's Zero, 161 caps for the Lionesses in 17 professional seasons. So congrats to them. Going out on top, quite frankly.
Huge. Yeah, definitely going out on top. And you look at Jill Scott, 35 years old, Ellen White, 33 years old. They're not necessarily at the obvious end of their careers, but I think for these players, the fact that England just won the Euros and that was such a huge moment. It was almost like a sigh of relief for those players, because they know that it was a turning point for women's football and for the sport and for the country. Huge, incredible careers by both of these players, White and Scott, and wishing them all the best in the next stage, in the next phase, hoping maybe to get them on the broadcast side of things. Love to see that player development, or on the coaching side of things. We can always use more coaches in the game, especially former female players. So love to see that. And congrats to both of them, Ellen White and Jill Scott, on their fantastic careers.
Before we close out, it wouldn't be a live show if there wasn't some extra breaking news. So before we go, yes, and there has in fact been another trade announced in the NWSL. Valerie Gauvin heads to Houston from North Carolina Courage. The Dash will send $25,000 in allocation money to the Courage and a conditional 2024 second round draft pick. So we will see more options for this Houston Dash side as they continue to navigate their regular season. But that is it for us here on Attacking Third.